Jason Thompson, Tompkinsville, Kentucky. Me and my father, along with my mother and my wife, and have a nephew that helps some run a cow-calf operation in Tompkinsville. Before I get into this, I heard of a gentleman once that worked for Olympic Committee, and he entered this town, and as he come into this town, everywhere he looked, he saw an arrow, and it was stuck right in the middle of a bullseye. Well, upon inquiring about who this archer was, and he asked who it was, and they give him a name. And he said, "Do you think I can meet this gentleman?" And they said, "I'm sure we can arrange this." So he met him, and he said, "Hey, I work for the Olympics. As I enter your town, I see everywhere these arrows are stuck in a bale of hay, side of a barn tree. And every single time it's right in the middle of the bullseye." And he said, "I'd like to talk to you about maybe entering the Olympics, but I was wanting to know how you got that good." And he said, "Well, shucks, it's not nothing." He said, "I just rear back and shoot, and wherever it hits, I draw the bullseye around it." Well, I understand that's not the case for people in this room, but a majority of people that are farming, when it comes to forages, I think we're just rearing back and shooting. And we need a purpose. So what is my purpose? And he alluded to it. And on our farm, this is my grandson right there. He's 1 year old. And I want to make good decisions because right there he's 3. You know, and he's starting to help. And how long will it take for him to be old enough to take over? And it'll be just like that. And I better be making decisions that if he wants to farm, that it will be there. Forage is going to have to be a big part of that equation if that's going to happen. You know, it was a shocking thing as I spoke at that other thing, and Jim Garrish that Mr. Isaacs mentioned talked about the reason that operations fail. 54% of that was winter feed cost, I believe. It was some number similar to that. So forage is going to be a reason if we succeed, and our animals are going to have to be part of that. That's a 3-year-old cow right there, a heifer, that's with her second calf. That calf right there is 18 days old. She AI bred as an open heifer. She calved with that calf on November the 8th, and then she calved this year, not November, September the 8th, and she calved this year on September the 7th. That cow is a balancer cow bred to a polled Hereford bull, and that calf is her bred to a balancer bull. That is a 7-year-old cow with a 90-day calf on her side. That's coming in around Thanksgiving. That's some stockpile fescue that we'll get back to here in a minute. We have those animals, move them onto that a week or two prior to turning our bulls out. That particular group of animals there were 32 cows that we preg checked in that group, and all 32 were bred on like a 90-day breeding period. There were 40 cows in there. 8 of them I didn't even pregnancy check because I didn't want to find out they was pregnant and keep them 1 more year and then pull them off dead. Right here, that's a first calf heifer on some stockpile, same deal, same time of year. Now our stockpile does not look like that this year because of lack of moisture, and it's interesting like going back and looking at these, and as he alluded, you know, I went back through my photos and trying to pick out ones to go with this, and you know, you realize after maybe speaking at something like this, and like Dr. Henning said, you know, when you see something, you want to take a picture of it because you know you can use it, but having that kind of grass is sure beneficial. That's a 2-year-old bull. He's a balancer bull. And not only do we have to have this nutrition or fuel for our cows in order to get them bred back, but that bull is going to have to service all them cows. So, and that's just regular old Kentucky 31 fescue there. He run with 28 cows, all 28 of those bred. Here, this is mid-May. All that total, and I've got a drone shot here in a minute, there was 105 acres right there that we cleaned up, that all of that was timberland. And we went in there, well, we didn't, we hired it done, went in, dozed it, cleaned all the stumps up. There are 4 paddocks on one side of the road and 4 on the other. I try to keep, and those cattle are separated just by that poly wire, and you can see up there are some more cattle. There's a poly wire fence that runs through here. That dozer pile right there actually serves as a fence. There's no wire down either side of it. On the far end of it, there's a battery charger with some poly wire that keeps them separated. Right here, this is mid to late June. We are strictly fall calvers. Me and my dad, we run about 250 mama cows. Another guy is a cooperator, runs 180 cows that we own. We get a percentage of those calves, and what we do there is a cow that's not going to be a maternally something we'd want to keep a female out of. We send them to him, and he runs Charolais bulls on them. That is a novel end-of-fight fescue there with red clover mixed in. We brought those calves in, and this year we did not creep feed anything. We brought them in, run them in a dry lot behind the barn for 3 or 4 days. I hand fed them, got them calmed down. We segregated them. Steers went one way, heifers went another. All our calves, the steer calves, we put the tags in their right ear, heifers in the left, and that way when they come through the chute, all those steers, they have been implanted. When I opened that up, I had poly wire not far to the right of those calves, and I'd just leave them in there for 2 or 3 hours at a time to begin with, and I'd push them back out because I didn't want them to take a chance on bloat. Right there, that's some Red River crabgrass in there. You can't see it real good, but then that's also some leftover sorghum Sudan. That whole field does not look that way. We drilled that in sometime back, and like I said, all our fall calves, so we just they run on full feed, but they also have that Red River crabgrass and some sorghum Sudan. Ideal moisture. On some paddocks, we'd drill sorghum Sudan about 30-35 days, cut it off, make baleage, and then when we got regrowth about like that, we'd run our heifers on it. And I'd let them in there for 2 or 3 hours a day and then push them all out. And after a while, just being around those animals, when you got ready to sell those, when you went to get them up, they understand what's going on. So you just get them headed in the right direction, like Mr. Gill said, and they just go, and they're not tearing the lot down, and it helped a whole lot with husbandry. That's an open heifer. That picture was taken in the first part of August, like actually August the 9th, I think. That's a crossbred heifer. Those run with our other ones like 45 days. That's on August the 9th. I think we ship the calves August the 15th. We sell the calves directly off the farm. We put in a set of certified scales, get them up, shrink them 2%, load them on the truck, and ship them. Those heifers have just been running on grass since then. I hand feed them some just to keep them gentle, but I want something that's going to stay around. And we have bought some heifers the last couple of years, and it'd be my suggestion, whatever the environment is on your farm, if you're going to go buy it and bring it on your farm, they better harmonize. Here's another heifer, and it's interesting that I showed Mr. Toich there. He come out last January and was looking, and you know that one cow that you got in your field that somebody driving by, and they said, I wouldn't want her, and then that come out of her. Her mom won't weigh 1,050 pounds, and we weighed that heifer last week, and she weighed 945. Now, they're all not that big. The whole group averaged like 731, and that's about where I'd like for them to be, and to do that mainly on grass. That's in October. That's from a couple years ago. That is a novel end-of-fight fescue there. That's a bred heifer from a few years back when we did have moisture. That's in April, and that is ryegrass. Now right here, so there was a very wise man that come to our farm at the first part of last year. All right, right here, this is all that cut over timberland. So there's a 2-strand of high tensile wire along this because that's cropland, that don't belong to us. But around all the rest of this, there's one strand of high tensile hot wire. Well, in order for them cows to stay in there, there needs to be something inside of where you've got them. Because my dad in the past has been like, well, you need to leave them cows in there a few more days. And I said, we don't have a few more days fence around it. So they will go somewhere. But in showing this wise man, everywhere we went and looked, and every pasture, hayfield, he said, clover, clover, clover. You need more clover. His name wasn't Confucius, but it did start with a C, and he's right here. Anyway, communication is key, because if you look, all this is clover, and we did not have a GPS, and you can tell a miscommunication. We didn't get that drilled. Right here's that same thing. All right, all this is got clover in it. We got about 75 acres of it drilled. This part right here does not have clover. If we had had moisture any at all, it would have been a whole lot better. We just dug that pond this last year to utilize to where this is split different, and then we can make this over here into 4 paddocks. This over here is into 4 paddocks. Right here is the clover. That's in August. We drilled that in with a seed drill because I was really wanting to frost seed it like he said, but you could not find one, and I was afraid if I did get it ordered when it would show up. So we just put it in a seed drill, did 6 pounds of red to the acre and 2 of the white. And it come on, it's done very well. If we'd had any amount of moisture at all, it would have done really well. Back to those heifers earlier, the last 4 years, and if you don't know, like you can do genomic testing on your commercial heifers. We've been doing that, and that is interesting. To see, like actually when you back up, that heifer right there tested better than that one. And it's a good barometer of seeing where you are, where my needs are. You know, and like what all I'm saying, it may not work for you, it works for us. And I'm not saying this is the best thing to do, but you know, if we're going to have to be efficient with our money if we're going to last. And everything just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. You know, and I need to understand and view things, it's not all just about cutting cost. I heard Jordan Thomas with Missouri say this, you know, we think about cutting costs when we need to be cutting the causes of cost. And I think if through our forages and through our animals, we can do that. And hopefully as a result, those are calves. We calved out 61 heifers this year, got 61 live heifers and 60 calves, pulled 2. And that's my grandson at 2 years old. And he encouraged you to keep on farming. You know, I want you to think about this. If we live to be 80 years old, 1.25% of your life is spent each and every year. What would you rather be doing than farming? Thank you. Oh, I guess I need to answer questions.
Great job. Look at Jason. There'll be some questions.
Oh, yeah. Keep that on for your questions.
Sorry.
Questions?
29. Yes, sir. And of course, there's a couple of different ones do it. We'd used one company for 3 years, swapped and went to another company, and one was because of a place that we bought some replacement heifers out of Virginia, and I got to know those guys real good, and they're running their cattle on a grass-based operation, sort of like we are. So we bought 27 of those animals last year, calved out 27, never pulled a one, and 26 of those 7 first calf heifers bred back. This last year, we bought 29 from the same group, calved out 29, never touched a one, and I've got 29 live calves. Is a big investment, but have an animal that's going to stay there, and stayability is one of those things in that testing. The first few years we tested, I tested animals that were already bred because I don't know about you, but I'm skeptical sometimes. So we checked them, and I seen, you know, the proofs in the pudding. So this last year on a group, we got 37 that will be breeding coming up. And so because of Forage, that one bull that I showed a picture of, there were 2 groups, and on one farm, our first calf was born on September the 1st. On September the 12th, we had 20 calves on the ground, and that was not AI. Well, one, you got to have the animals that are going to do it, and 2, you got to have the forage. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into that, but when we AI bred those heifers last year, and we'll do it again this year, we get them up, we done a 7-day co-sync. If that's right, wrong, indifferent, I don't know. That's what we did. 3 days later, I turned the bull in, left him in 45 days, pulled him out. All right, 22 of the 40 bred AI, 9 on the first heat, 2 the second natural heat. Well, I ended up with 7 open. We fed all those out to freezer beef, but you could have marketed it as a feeder heifer if you wanted. All right, now that's like 83.5% conception. I'd rather sell that heifer or have choices what to do with her then as a 2-year-old and her open, because the overall, even with that, overall we did 95.5% on pregnancy. Neogen. Neogen's who we used this last time. And the Zoetis products, there are a whole lot of numbers in it, and there are indexes on each one of those. And we had been making decisions based on maternal. Well, we're all still selling pounds too. You know, I mean, I need something that's going to breed, but I need something that, and so when I look, and the ones that we kept back this year are a whole lot of our younger genetics, and that should, it'd be bad if that wasn't the case, but.
Balancer and Hereford, do you stick with that, or?
See,
Repeat that, Jason. Good question.
he asked if we were doing a 2-way cross. Actually, we try to stick with a 3-way cross and not have over 50% of anything, and maintain a Gelbvieh or a Sim, some type, but Gelbvieh, Angus, and Hereford. And ideally, probably 25, 30-something% Hereford.